This was filed last month. Feds back UPMC workers in lawsuit alleging healthcare monopoly. I've said before that these monopolies are going to come under fire, and so is the C-suite executives. I said like 4 years ago, which is when I started making videos, that what I oversee it happening is that what will be the fallout is how all of the at the executive levels, and when I'm speaking of executive levels, well, I expect the people that are business people to just be corrupt for the in healthcare anyway. But I'm talking about the executives that are like in CEO positions as a social worker, chief nursing officer, those people. That's what the fallout will be, is how did it fail? Like, because they know better. Yet where I work, they don't care how much staff you have. No, you're going to admit. Doesn't matter if you have doctor. We've already decided this patient's being admitted. Okay, well, who am I putting orders in? Because when I call the doctor, they don't know about the patient. So this is all stuff that should not go on. But these executives, because they say, oh, I have a title. Oh, how special for you. But you don't uphold that title with any righteousness. Like righteousness, doing the right thing. No, you just go along with money, wanting to serve your corporate deadbeats. So I think that's what will be the fallout, because so many people in healthcare at those levels, and I think the ones that struggle with it usually just say, forget it, I'm going to leave, I'll go back. I've seen nurses go back to being a staff nurse to avoid having, because you can't do it. It's like, no, you want me to do the wrong thing. How many times? And when I say the wrong thing, it's like, we know as nurses that you shouldn't keep admitting when there's not enough staff. So, this is going to fall on executives. And what needs to happen, and I'm hoping it will, and not in every case, but when it comes to these hospitals that are chronic abusers, where patients have been hurt multiple times, staff has been hurt multiple times, then there comes a point, and I don't know why Department of Justice couldn't do this a long time ago, except that it's been corrupt too, is that those people are a danger to society. Like, at the very least, they need to be, criminally held responsible, because it shows a pattern of intent. You're not that stupid. They go on to, I'll show in a minute, but back to this, because all the lawyers around this hospital were trying to say that, these workers, they don't ever write all these years after the monopoly took place to go after them. Oh, well, apparently the judges think they do. It was filed by a nurse in Erie. The complaint sought class action status to represent registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, nurse assistants, and orderlies. The complaint alleged that UPMC's acquisition of 28 competitors between 1996 and 2018 has actually reduced healthcare services through the closure of 4 hospitals and downsizing of 3 others. Yeah, it's exactly what happens. Every time they merge, they will tell you, oh, this is going to be great, and no, every time it hurts everybody. It hurts the community, hurts the workers, and you get less staff as they monopolize. Because again, they're not having to compete with anybody. So then those CEOs and those sellout chief nursing officers that go along with that C-suite, they just make the system, they destroy it. While they say, we're going to do this to make it better, and it's like, no, you can't even recognize how you're part of the problem. So you're not going to make it any better, but you can keep lying to yourself. But that's what it's going to show, is this major fail. Also, right here, the lawsuit also said that UPMC used non-compete clauses and do not rehire blacklist to keep workers from leaving. Yeah, they love to throw the nursing board at you. Anything they can to intimidate you. Yeah. Like, while they talk about being leaders and we have to think about, doctors and nurses and their state of mental health. No, you guys are the ones that have a mental health problem going on, because you keep doing the wrong thing, and I don't know how it is you could keep doing the wrong thing. And I don't mean just small missteps here. You're somebody's admitting patients, but they're not putting the orders in. But then you want me to do that? You're not even staying within your own scope, but you think it's okay because you're at the corporate level. Okay, yeah. So that's what's going to end up. The fallout of all this is going to be. That's the reason it doesn't get any better. That's the reason going to a nursing. I'm not against all unions, but the ones in nursing, they're not any good. They serve the hospitals. They serve the same C-suite that you're having, that the workers are having trouble with. Why do you want a union anyway? I've never understood this union thing. Maybe it's just, because of my experience with Illinois nurses. So I don't understand it, because when you go on strike, they let the hospital know. So it's like, oh, okay. It just seems like if you really wanted to let them know you were about business, then, you would all just strike on your own. I know, I get it. I'm not trying to say people shouldn't have their union. I'm just saying recognize that they too are serving the globalist agenda. Because if they can, also part of this is they've been sabotaging their hospitals. That's why they won't hire. So it's very easy. Your managers never even see. I mean, there's so many managers I've come across that have said, like somebody will say, no, I sent my resume. They never saw it. And they're not lying. They don't. HR just doesn't let it go. And maybe at this point, the algorithm just bumps it all back. But there's not a nursing shortage. But but to not take accountability, American Nurses Association claims that National Nurses United. No, there's plenty of nurses. There is. They wanted open borders for a reason, to bring in cheap labor, to help the hospital CEOs. In their brief, UPMC's attorneys called the plaintiffs' claims a lengthy and stale list of not run-of-the-mill employment grievances. No, they're not. That do not include essential antitrust claims. It's crazy to me that these attorneys get all this money because they're on retainer with these hospitals. No, these workers aren't just making this up. It's across the country. We've been carrying on about this for a long time. So, and part of the problem is that I think even attorneys should want to have a good healthcare system. You're not going to have a good healthcare system unless, maybe people do want, to just be, treated by a telephone system that you have to punch in buttons, or a screen of a robot, or just hardly any staff. But I don't believe that that's in the best interest. But the people at the executive levels are not about human care. So if that matters to you, any of you attorneys, you might want to think about that, because eventually everybody has to, at some point or another, need to be treated in a hospital, and you should want it to be its best. The hospitals are not at their best at all. They've never been at their worst than they are now. So there was also this that was formed in this year in May of 2024. So I had saw this, but I didn't put much hope because it's under Biden. So yeah, Justice Department upping its game on healthcare antitrust enforcement with new task force. Okay, so my hope with this though is that, okay, so Trump comes in, gets rid of that old task force, because they're just sitting around doing nothing. They'll put out some stuff, it makes you think they're going to do something, but they don't. In order to really fix the problem in healthcare, people need to go to jail. They do it, first of all, for their own good, because they don't stop otherwise. They have too much money. They'll just tie everything up. If you want to put the best interest of patients first, then you have to criminally go after these people. That's what the Justice Department needs to do. Like at some point, if you have a 30-year history, I'll do that in another video, about all the children or patients that have been abused, and you're a healthcare system that has continued to just monopolize across the nation, but you still have the repeated problems by different people saying it, then you would think the Department of Justice would say, you know what, this has now reached a level where this hospital system has been gone after so much and found guilty that we can't just hold them accountable monetary wise. We need to criminally do something. But I think under the corrupt justice system, everybody was getting a kickback. I don't think that it'll be that way under Trump. The task force will consider widespread competition concerns shared by patients, healthcare professionals, businesses, entrepreneurs, including issues regarding payer-provided consolidation, serial acquisition, labor and quality of care, medical billing, healthcare IT services, and access to and misuse of healthcare data. So that all sounds great, and I think it will be great once Trump is in and he holds their feet to the fire on holding those accountable.